Hi, I'm Nathan, 20, and Christmas Eve at my parents' house turned into a hostage negotiation, with my education as the ransom. Let's rewind 12 hours. I was halfway through finals week at Georgetown, double majoring in political science and econ, already shortlisted for a summer internship in D.C., when I flew home for the holidays. I walked in the door with a suitcase and a transcript update 3.9 GPA, thank you very much, and was greeted not with a hug or welcome back, but with Mom saying, "We need to talk about what you did to Claire." Claire. The golden child. My sister who could do no wrong even when she wrecked a borrowed car drunk and blamed valet. Apparently, her latest offense, outing a classmate's mental health struggles in a group chat, was somehow my fault, because I'd responded publicly. One sentence. That's all I wrote. Imagine bullying someone who got into Columbia when you were waitlisted at Temple. It exploded. Screenshots went everywhere. Claire lost her sorority presidency. Her TikTok went private. Sponsors ghosted her. And suddenly, I was the enemy of Christmas. Dad called it public defamation of family. Like I was a rogue senator. Mom wept over Claire's lost future, as if she hadn't just gotten a brand deal revoked for being a jerk. The cherry on top? They threatened to suspend my tuition until I made it right. Their exact words. No apology, no more Georgetown. You want to act like a grown-up? Handle grown-up consequences. I said one word. Fine. By morning, my room was boxed up. My laptop was gone. Dad had called the bursar's office before breakfast. My Georgetown transfer was cleared. Cleared. Like they had this ready in a drawer labeled insubordination. Then my phone buzzed. Claire. Please tell me you didn't send it. Dad looked at me, trying to keep his fake calm. Grin half-formed. Send what? He asked. I met his eyes. The email. And that's when everything shifted. It was already too late. I'd hit send 5 hours earlier. The email was addressed to Georgetown's Office of Student Affairs, the D.C. internship coordinator, and one more contact Dad didn't know I had, Julian Reyes, staff writer at the Chronicle, Georgetown's independent student newspaper. Subject line. Why my parents pulled me out of school, nepotism, blackmail, and the family brand. The body of the email laid everything out. Names, dates, screenshots. The real story behind the Golden Girl image. Claire's whispered threats to classmates. The doctored screenshots she used to get rivals blacklisted from student orgs. The time she convinced my parents to bribe a TA to fix her failing grade at Penn State, right before she transferred up to Temple, where Dad just happened to be on the alumni board. I made it clear I was done protecting her. Or them. I included the tuition control threats. The line, "We'll pay for school again when you fix your attitude." Word for word from my dad's voicemail. And I added this kicker. If you're wondering why Georgetown would lose a high-performing student overnight, ask what happens when your family sees your education as a marketing tool instead of a right. Dad's face turned that weird color people get when their pride gets strangled by fear. He started sputtering. Nathan. That email could destroy everything your mother and I have built, your sister's future, our family reputation. I cut him off. Exactly. Mom walked in right then, mascara already melting down her cheeks. She must have read the message too. Claire definitely had. Nathan, how dare you air our dirty laundry like this? Mom whispered like we were in church. No, I said. You did that when you tried to turn school into a punishment. My phone started vibrating again. Claire. She was calling this time. I didn't answer. Dad grabbed his keys. We'll fix this. I'll call the school. I'll explain. I laughed. Explain what? That you torpedoed your son's degree over an Instagram scandal? He stopped. That's when it clicked for him. He wasn't the one in control anymore. And I hadn't even told him the part about the lawyer. Yet. 3 days earlier, before any of this Christmas chaos, I'd booked a Zoom consult with an education attorney. Just in case. Her name was Marley, Georgetown alum. Specialized in coercion-related withdrawal cases. She told me 2 key things. If your parents are using financial threats to control your enrollment or academic expression, that's not just unethical, it can be legally actionable. Record everything. Especially conversations where they leverage tuition against your behavior. So I did. The phone call with Dad where he said, "We'll reinstate your tuition if you make this disappear." The dinner where Mom told me, Think about the brand, Nathan. Your sister's face is on Temple's diversity brochure. Even the group family meeting where they sat me down and said, "This is about family unity, not punishment. Apologize or you're done." Mara had all of it. And now that the email was out, the fire had spread fast. Julian from the Chronicle didn't just reply, he published a feature within 12 hours titled, "When GPA Isn't Enough, The Silent Power Games Behind Georgetown Dropouts." My story led the article. Anonymous, but not really. The quotes were unmistakable. Especially the one I signed off with. "You raised a kid to speak truth to power. Don't act shocked when he starts with you." By Christmas morning, the university called me directly. An advisor named Grant Levine left a voicemail that nearly made me cry in the kitchen. "Hey Nathan, just saw what came through. You haven't technically been disenrolled yet. If you can verify independent living status and self-funding intent, we can get you back in without parental support. Give us a call." Dad tried to intercept the call. I let him listen to the voicemail on speaker. And that's when he broke. "Nathan," he said, and for the first time in years his voice cracked. "You can't just throw us away like this." I looked him in the eye. "You already did. The second you chose Claire's PR over my future." He didn't have a response to that. But Claire did. Because the next text she sent me wasn't a threat. It was a confession. And it was worse than I ever imagined. Before we continue, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to me. Claire's next message came in as a long iMessage bubble that just kept typing. When it finally landed, it was a paragraph so out of character I thought it was fake. "I didn't know Dad would actually pull your funding. I was just venting. I never meant for them to do this. I'm sorry. I swear. But Nathan, you need to know something before this goes any further. I think they used your SSN. For something. Something big." I blinked. "Read it again. Please don't ignore me." "I overheard them in Dad's office last month. Something about FAFSA and a dual-dependent loophole. I didn't think much of it then. But it was your name on the application folder. You weren't supposed to see that." My stomach bottomed out. Claire had done a lot of shady things. Weaponized pity, manufactured drama, fake charity donations, but this? Identity fraud? Using my social security number to claim federal aid or benefits? I texted her back fast. "Where's the folder now?" "Bottom drawer. Filing cabinet. Left side of Dad's desk. Locked, but he keeps the key in the hollowed-out pen." This wasn't just a messy family implosion anymore. This was criminal. I waited until they left for midnight mass. Said I was staying back because I wasn't in the Christmas spirit. Once the door closed, I went to Dad's office. The pen trick worked. Bottom drawer opened with a soft click. Inside, crisp manila folders, labeled in Dad's all-caps handwriting. Nathan, 2024 FAFSA. Georgetown, Appeal Docs. Claire, PR account/brands. Home equity, college collateral. That last one chilled me. Inside my own folder, I found the application documents, and forged signatures with my name. It wasn't just tuition manipulation. They'd claimed I was living at home, dependent, and had zero income of my own. Which meant they were getting financial aid in my name while pretending to support me. I sat down in his leather office chair. Took a photo of every page. Sent them to Mara. Subject line: Emergency follow-up, possible ID fraud. By the time my parents got back from church, I was waiting for them at the kitchen table. Dad saw the open folder and froze like I'd pulled a gun on him. "I know," I said. He didn't deny it. He didn't even try. Mom started crying immediately. Claire was the one who walked in last, arms crossed, pale but steady. "I told him not to use your name," she said. "But you weren't supposed to find out." I stared at her. And whispered, "Merry Christmas." And then I stood up. And walked out of the house. With the folder in my backpack. I didn't sleep that night. Not in the house. Not in a hotel. I crashed on the futon in my friend Eli's garage apartment, surrounded by dusty amps and a mini fridge that groaned louder than a car crash every 45 minutes. But I didn't care. I was free. And adrenaline was the only thing keeping me upright anyway. Mara called me first thing the next morning. "Nathan," she said, no greeting. "I forwarded everything to the university. They're launching an internal review. And if the FAFSA fraud checks out, Your parents are in serious trouble. I asked how serious. If they claimed federal aid in your name while falsifying your financial independence? That's up to 5 years of prison time. Each count. I didn't even know what to say. 5 years? My dad, the Golden Alumni Speaker. My mom, the charity auction queen. My parents, whose entire social lives revolved around being seen as the perfect family. Mara's voice softened. Are you okay? No, I said. But I'm getting there. Later that day, Georgetown officially reinstated my enrollment. Full schedule. No academic penalty. They'd flagged my student file for future fraud alerts. I was told to reroute all correspondence through a dedicated case manager. They also gave me emergency access to a campus housing stipend, which meant I didn't just have school back. I had a place to live. That's when Claire showed up at Eli's. I almost didn't open the door. She stood outside in an oversized hoodie, makeup smudged, no phone in sight. Just her. Holding something in a manila envelope. I need to make this right, she said. I raised an eyebrow. With me? Or with your image? She winced, but didn't flinch. With both. She handed me the envelope. Inside was a copy of an old receipt, one I'd never seen before. A $2,500 wire transfer to a Georgetown professor. Attached, an anonymous tip form with the words, "Grade adjustment confirmed," circled in highlighter. I told you they'd bribed someone, she said. Now you can prove it. I looked at her, stunned. Claire exhaled slowly, then added, But Nathan, there's one more thing. One more person they screwed over. I narrowed my eyes. Who? And that's when she dropped the real bomb. You're not their only kid. I just blinked. She nodded. Mom had a son before she met Dad. She gave him up. They'd been paying him off for years to stay quiet. My jaw dropped. You're kidding. Claire just whispered. His name's Sam. He's 24. And he reached out to me last week. I sat down like gravity just doubled. Claire pulled out her phone. No hesitation now. She scrolled through her texts, then held up the screen. Sam W. Hey. You don't know me, but I think we might be half-siblings. I've known about you and Nathan for a while. Our mother reached out years ago. Said not to contact you. Said it would. Confuse things. But I've been watching what's happening. I'm sorry they're doing this to your brother. He doesn't deserve it. I didn't either. I stared at the message. The words, half-siblings, echoed like a fire alarm in my skull. Claire sat down across from me. They've been sending him monthly hush money since he turned 18. He told me he thought it was guilt money, not silence money. Until last week. Why last week? Her voice cracked. Because Mom told him she couldn't keep paying anymore. Said they had to redirect funds, to shut you up. I laughed. I actually laughed. A loud, bitter, full-body laugh that scared Eli's cat out of the mini-fridge corner. Claire didn't laugh with me. Sam's willing to talk, she said quietly. He wants to help. He's got letters. Emails. One from Mom from 2009, talking about erasing mistakes before the kids are old enough to ask questions. I stood up, pacing now, my hands behind my head. Why now? Why is he reaching out now? Claire didn't blink. Because he saw your story in the Georgetown paper. He said it made him feel like he wasn't alone anymore. That stopped me cold. I looked down at my sister. This version of her, real, tired, makeup smudged, finally human, and for the first time in years I didn't feel like I was looking at an enemy. I felt like I was looking at a fellow survivor. And suddenly, I wasn't angry anymore. I was curious. I took out my phone. Pulled up my email. Typed in the subject line, Chronicle follow-up, I have a brother. Before I could hit send, another message popped in. From Sam. Hey Nathan. Heard you're ready to talk. I am too. I think we've both been part of a story we didn't write. Ready to finish it? I took a deep breath. Typed 2 words. Let's talk. We met at a diner halfway between D.C. and Philly. Me, Claire, and Sam. He walked in wearing a Red Sox cap, gray hoodie, same nervous half-smile I've seen in the mirror 100 times. It was unsettling. Like meeting a version of myself from a life that almost happened. He slid into the booth like we'd done this every Sunday our whole lives. So, he said, this is the weirdest family reunion ever, right? Claire snorted. I just nodded. Over black coffee and burnt eggs, he told us everything. How Mom got pregnant at 19. How her parents forced the adoption. How she reached out again when he was 15. A trial reconnection, she called it, but cut him off the second she got pregnant with Claire. How Dad never knew about him. At least, not until recently. I didn't want money, Sam said, poking at his eggs. But she offered it. Monthly. Said it was for therapy. I took it. It helped. But last week she sent me this. He handed me a folded letter. I recognized her handwriting instantly. Sam, please understand this isn't personal. Our family is under pressure. Nathan has made things very difficult. I have to protect what we've built. Let this be the final payment. Mom, Claire whispered. Jesus Christ. I didn't say anything. I just stared at the sentence. Nathan has made things very difficult. That was their narrative. Their bedtime story. But now, sitting at that booth, I realized something huge. They weren't afraid of scandal. They were afraid of the truth. Because the moment the curtain dropped, they lost their script. Their control. Their fantasy of the picture-perfect family they'd been performing for 2 decades. We paid the check. Sam offered. I let him. Before we left, I asked him, "You still got those letters? The early ones?" He nodded. "You thinking of going public again?" I smiled. "I'm thinking of applying for a journalism minor." He laughed. Claire groaned. We walked outside. The air was freezing but fresh. Sam reached out first. A handshake. I took it. It turned into a hug. And just like that, the story shifted. Not from revenge. Not from rage. But from reclaiming what was stolen. Control. Truth. And a future built on something real. Later that night, I got one more text from Dad. "You've ruined us." I didn't answer. I just powered off my phone. And started writing the next chapter. My way.